The Leak Mound Interpretive Trail is sponsored by the Federal Highway Administration, the Georgia Department of Transportation, and the University of West Georgia.
Hi, and welcome to another Leak Mounds Interpretive Trail podcast. I'm Marcus Topp.
And I'm Jennifer Teeter. If you're following along on the trail, this podcast corresponds to the Preserving the Past panel. We're here at the Georgia Department of Transportation with archaeologists Pam Bachman and Terry Lottie.
Pam and Terry, what does the Georgia Department of Transportation do to make their research known? When you guys go out onto an archaeological site and when your excavations are over, how do you let the public know what you've done?
Like you said, that by preserving these sites and by looking for the data that they hold, you kind of help us understand our history. How does that information get across? As far as preserving, it's one thing, but how does the normal person find out about it? Like what kinds of projects?
We have a lot of public outreach that we try to include on all of our projects. It may seem like it's proprietary information, but it's really not. I mean, we feel like and not only as state employees, but as archaeologists, we feel like we work for the people. And the whole idea of protecting and preserving archaeological sites is for public preservation and preservation of common heritage. And so we're very motivated to have information about sites in general and information about sites in particular. I mean, we have technical studies which are reported for archaeologists because they're really interested in the nitty-gritty of scientific information. So we have their technical reports, but a lot of times we're creating public reports, brochures of information about particular resources that we've encountered. We have a website dedicated to disseminating information about cultural resources that GDOT has encountered. We do everything from going out and talking about archaeology at career days in elementary schools to having archaeological excavations while they're being done open to the public, and sometimes ultimately have what we call a public document created. Terry has one right now that they did a huge excavation at the Long Swamp site up in Cherokee County, and they did the technical report that's necessary for 106 kind of review and evaluation, but then they also produced this public document that encapsulates years of history in the area and kind of tries to teach about it from history and archaeological perspectives. Maybe Terry could talk about it.
It's kind of a coffee table book.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we kind of wanted to do, and it's about people along the Etowah from the beginning to the most recent past. So, and it hopefully will be an accessible volume, and it's a free product, and that's the other thing. We always, when we build up these,
everything is free.
Yeah, public education is always free. Because you've paid for it once, you shouldn't pay for it twice.
Right.
And they end up being labors of love, really, and they're born out of these important sites that we maybe couldn't avoid altogether. And we use them as a vehicle to give back to the people who pay our salary.
It often is part of mitigation.
Yeah.
So when we ultimately get to those big excavations, we don't just think of mitigation as digging up the stuff and getting the data potential. We'll try to come up with creative ideas. For Terry, it was a coffee table book. For the leak site, it's these interpretive panels.
And podcasts.
And podcasts.
And podcasts, yes.
And, a trail, a consultation trail, and further preservation of the site. We've come up with, things like mini brochures, websites. Video games.
I did a video game.
Really, the possibilities are endless, and we're always looking for new ideas. We try to stay abreast of technology in some ways.
Yeah. And oftentimes I feel like I'm in a virtual reality.
Yeah. So we're trying to keep up with that, and we're trying to reach out, to different audiences, general public. We sometimes gear certain things to school groups and lesson plans and that kind of thing. But I don't think anybody can say it better than Terry just said it. It's a public product because we are beholden to the public to do the work, both as state employees and as archaeologists, and we want the public to get the information, and it's always free because we want the information out there. And
yeah, we're representing people from all over this country, so it means a lot to not only make sure you do right by a resource, but that a resource does right by the people it belongs to. That's always a great challenge. It's always so much fun. There should never be a limitation to what we do in regard to helping educate folks, through archaeology and history. Never.
Because the potential that we talked about so much about, like what's in a site, it's really data potential. It's not a collection of artifacts. It's data potential for us as archaeologists, but it's education for the public and for all humankind as to what has happened on the earth. That's how we think of it. It's not only informative for us as archaeologists, but also for everyone.
The other thing is, too, an educated public is a public that is an appreciative public. So I think that anytime you have the opportunity to tell a child, the importance of history and their importance in history, the less likely perhaps they will be to destroy it.
Great point.
And that's very important.
I think that's a good kind of closing note.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to another Leak Mounds Interpretive Trail podcast.
The Leak Mounds Interpretive Trail project was done in partnership with the City of Cartersville and Bartow County. Music by Tommy Wildcat.